Hello there and welcome to the program. I am Victor Matthias and this is Channels Beam, a program that leverages social media platforms to reach out to all young Nigerians from across the world. Between half and two-thirds of Nigerian women are allegedly subject to domestic violence in their homes. Domestic violence affects all social groups and can consist of physical, sexual, and psychological abuse. Although men can also be affected by this abuse, women suffer this more. The prevalent culture of silence and stigma for the victims hinders public acknowledgement of the problem. There exists an urgent need to challenge the social prejudices and institutional structures in order to protect its women not just from danger but also from ridicule, fear, and isolation. Stefan Mikala, Deputy Director of Amnesty International's Africa Program, said, on a daily basis, Nigerian women are beaten, raped, and even murdered by members of their family for supposed transgressions which can range from not having meals ready on time to visiting family members without their husband's permission, adding that husbands, partners, and fathers are responsible for most of the violence. With me on the program is a PR consultant and a campaigner for domestic peace, Dupe Ilori. But just before we catch up with her, let's take a look at the hashtags that were trending in the past week. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We're looking at domestic violence, but the layman doesn't really know what this constitutes. What can you tell us?
Well, for domestic violence, as a term, covers a lot. Domestic violence also can mean domestic abuse, assault, battering, beating. It means a lot to different people, but as it is, it's an unlawful way to deal with someone who stays with you, or generally it's assault in every way you could think about it. That's it.
But when you talk about domestic violence, the first picture that comes to one's mind is a woman being subjected to this.
And then even when you see pictures painted, you see a woman being beaten.
Yeah.
But as it is, it cuts across. It's not just for the female race itself. Domestic violence can happen to practically anybody, men, children, even your house helps. So the case of domestic violence is not restricted to women alone. Children can be domestically assaulted. Husbands, we have cases of where husbands are beaten by their wives. It really, so many cases have been reported on that one too. So it cuts across gender, sex, it doesn't matter, not just women alone.
But what laws, are there any laws like, to curb
domestic violence?
Yeah, to curb domestic violence.
Well, for laws to curb domestic violence, it differs from countries. I mean, some developing countries, they still have some law. It's not the same as for every country when it comes to domestic violence. For instance, in the United Arab Emirates, the Supreme Court in 2010 ruled that it is lawful for a man to actually physically discipline his wife. That's the term they use, physically discipline,
really?
As long as you don't create marks on our body. So it's right. And in Tajikistan, it's right for a man to physically abuse his wife on some conditions of, say, she argues a lot, or she left the house without permission, or she refuses to have sex with you. In Tajikistan, it's right for you to actually discipline that woman. So from country to country, the term domestic violence differs.
What about in Nigeria?
Well, in Nigeria, laws, there are definitely laws that look into domestic violence. As we know, domestic violence is not just only physical assault, like I said. For children, it could be starvation. For children, it could be economic deprivation. When you deprive your child of normal things that you need, for that child needs to grow. Don't take the child to school. Some people even unlawful imprison children that are not theirs. Maybe they are words that just stay with them. But as it is in Nigeria, especially in the Lagos State government, the Lagos State Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation has put a lot of measures in place. And there's a law in Lagos State now against domestic violence.
Really?
Yes, there is.
So who can apply? Who can report? What are there channels? How do you go about this law?
Okay, as it is, Domestic violence can be reported by practically everybody. The good thing about the law is that it's so flexible that even a child could report his parent. A housemate can report his or her boss to the proper authority.
What about the shy ones?
The shy ones. Well, the law opens itself up to a lot of people, but many people don't know. Married people as well can report to authority when a case of domestic violence is in place. Either you're lawfully married to that man or unlawfully, either by custom. It doesn't restrict you. If you're cohabiting with someone, you're not married, you're staying together, and there's a case of domestic assault, you have to report. The law opens itself up to that one. House helps, staffs can also report a case of domestic violence. So it's free for all. Children can report their parents in case of, say, battery. The Lagos State government doesn't smile at that anymore. So it's open to a lot of people. And like you said, some people are shy, so you could inform the authority on behalf of some persons. Okay, persons under 18 can also report. You can report on their behalfs. People who are mentally impaired, you could report on their behalf because definitely they hardly know what they're doing. But maybe people they stay with take advantage of the fact that they have that ailment. A counselor can report on behalf of a child, a teacher can report on behalf of a child. Then non-governmental organizations,
NGOs,
the NGOs can report, or relatives. And most importantly, I mean, one thing the Lagos State government has said that really amazed me was your neighbors can report for you if the case of domestic violence is identified. Yes, they call them the brothers keepers.
Dupe Lori,
thank you,
PR consultant and campaigner for domestic peace. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we will be joining our online contributors. But then, keep sending your comments and your contributions on Facebook, Twitter, and on Google+. Join us after this.
If you want to know what's trending or you miss your favorite live shows, you can watch it all on our YouTube channel. Simply log on to www.youtube.com/channelsweb. Scroll down to your favorite program and click play. You can also view all uploaded videos by clicking on View All. Don't forget to subscribe and get the latest videos. If they are interesting, like them and be heard. Get connected with the Channels Television YouTube page. The news at your fingertips.
Okay. Domestic violence. I think I'll try and look at the English word itself. We have domestic. So that means it's happening at home, in the house, within the family. And violence. Violence could be any form. Physical violence, verbal abuses, emotional abuse. You understand? So domestic violence in the short form could just be put as verbal, physical, emotional violence, or anything in that line happening at home or within a family. That the small family, the nuclear family, or in the broader perspective, the extended family.
In Africa, generally, it's believed that the female foe is a weaker sex. Do you understand? And most of the time, everything that happens in the house, I think the man is always standing up to that, and some way somehow gives them that edge over the woman and makes it more pronounced when you talk about domestic violence, and that's just it. Do you understand? So we look at it like, okay, women are the one most especially on the receiving end when it comes to domestic violence.
It does involve various factors. I think when we talk about domestic violence, people tend to think physical only, but there is a lot of mental domestic violence that goes on. And I also think that moving even beyond just the family situation, it occurs in any close, intimate relationship, even within people who are just dating.